It really is all the patient game though, isn't it?
Taste of it.
So if I had, I don't know, maybe I gotta clean my aircon or something. Jesus. If I add goofy teeth in here, it will really change the energy of the painting. Really happy with these kind of drop shadows on the wings. What we'll do is typically go the other way, but I just want to add some life into these right away. So I added it's kind of, this is a little bit still medium, but a little brighter, I think, than what we have, but not like the highest highlight. And I want to keep the really childlike, even that imperfection here, we'll keep that. Just make them a little more dominant. Really highlighting, accenting, giving them an accent to show their importance. I think these actually, with these child drawn wings are really important to me, to the painting. So I'm just giving them a little more love, a little more shape, a little more attention. That's the word. It's attention. Just give it attention. If they're important, give it attention. Not too much attention, and don't lose it. Don't lose anything by getting carried away. You're just touching things up to bring attention to them. That's it. They'll take a little bit to dry, but they should be touch dry even later today. Lots of liquid and not a lot of pigment. And now it gives me ways to go add some, maybe a little more dark yellow in there and some highlights. Still think something needs to happen here, which is like, sometimes that's discouraging. It was like, oh, what has to happen there? I don't know. Maybe I need to actually look at some Cherub drawings or paintings rather. I'm serious, because something needs to happen there. I threw the clouds in, and in a sense that's enough, but just to bring it home. Just to bring it home. Ooh, I really like this red. Nice. This red-brown mix. Still never did my homework on the nipples. Just making it up as we go along. I don't know, should I fast forward this when I do this part of it? Because it's not triggering my brain to fire a lot of dialogue out. It's just a necessary step. It's just a necessary step. So excited might be overselling it, but I'm definitely happy to show you kind of this stage, because I kind of feel like I actually looked at some Cherub imagery, and I looked at some what they're holding. They're holding like trumpets and violins and harps and stuff like that in a lot of the traditional old paintings. I'm not sure if that's going to get added or not, but what I just found to be fascinating about what's happening now is because I'm just not ready to call it. I'm not sure how far away I am or how close I am to finishing, but I think this stage is so key for progress, because it's kind of like it's a bit of we're in the unknown, the twilight zone. Like, what's happening? It's not finished. It needs more. I decided to add, like, okay, that's because I had the drop shadow on the wings. Let's do a real subtle drop shadow on the character, on the cherub. Very glaze. You can see it's very translucent. Gives me a lot of wiggle room, and I just need this mouse to come together a little bit more. So there's a few things happening. And all that's happening right now is just adding some drop shadow, and I think I'm just gonna be able to like keep playing, and more will keep coming alive as I keep adding more. As I say that aloud, it's not that, it's the same as always. However, I'm pretty excited to keep this thing going and building off a bit and having a bit of direction. So even this drop shadow of the art on the character is exciting for me. And I think, let me say it again. I think it's because a lot happens in this kind of like purgatory stage of like not really having a clear direction, but having a real base that I'm attached to. So I have a base, I have a character, I have a concept, I'm attached to it, but it needs stuff, it needs something. So here we go, and it's like, okay, so first we start with some kind of subtle drop shadow Nothing too intense. I don't want to do that. I'm not looking for that. I don't think it's in my best interest, but I just want some depth. Keyword depth and some keywords. So as soon as I just added a little brown, which is going to give me a green to my, but that's just going to pull it a little harder. And cool, and I just think this mouth needs it. So I'm combining with what the mouth needs to this drop shot, like so. Same color, same. You can pull that off really fast. Just dried my brush, cleaned it and dried it. Even if I wanted to do that here, I can't. Can pull some of it away. Same idea. This is a very small detail, but like, let's imagine that wing is kind of covered from the drop shadow. That doesn't really work, but it doesn't hurt. That's fine. Gonna go back to this. Let's see if it needs a little bit more intensity. Still super translucent, but just a bit of a darker value instead of the blue. We've added some green. It's a little bit too much, so I'll just do it sparingly. But I don't think it's too much for the mouth. I think in order to get this mouth working, it's really needs some depth. We can kind of do some shaping here. Got the right brush for detail. Go back in and work this around. I don't want it too strong. I want it blended in with the other glazes. So I'll go all the way around and pull it out. Grab a dry brush and just lightly feather, lightly blend. And there's a lot of inconsistency in this panel because of the previous layers, so it's not a flush surface. We went pretty hard there, that's fine. Just calm it down. Keep things moving, so I'm picking out some areas here that are higher in values, brighter. Still in glazing mode. And it's like medium opacity. Nothing too powerful though. Actually, it's pretty translucent, so maybe not even medium. Low opacity. Opacity. It's a nice color though to like throw into the mix. It's a nice eye color too. These kinds of details will actually start getting me ahead. So when I start adding some details to the eyes, it makes other elements of the painting start to be actually strengthened just by like getting certain details going. So again, I don't think I've really articulated this stage very clearly, but this is really where the rubber meets the road now. This is like, okay, how good can you actually make this painting? Because you had certain subject matter that needs to stay. You have the concept, you have the layers, you have the base, the foundation. We've gone a few levels up. We're into like rough-in carpentry to finishing carpentry. And this is kind of like maybe the most important stage in the painting, because it'll either go to like a really good piece or just remain as like interesting and very conceptual. Well done, good job. It's good, not great, but good. Like and might even sell. Like someone might go, "That's really cool. I love it. I love the cherub idea." But if we can take it a little further, dare I say, my own painting is really well done, right? I'll skip the word great, but it's really strong. And so that's kind of this stage right now. Can you make it a really strong piece of work? Really drive home the concept, really drive home the skill level, the detail. But you see, this is like finishing carpentry territory, right? Where it's not it's not a wash, a blanket glazing anymore. It's targeted. Not highlights, not like the reflections, but just still the eye. I think the mouth needs something. Now's the time to see it. Don't get discouraged. Keep working on things. Ooh. Remember, to get a nice brown going, you need green. Brown and green make the browns that you're looking for. The browns that you're looking for typically don't just come out of the tube. Browns, oranges, and greens are how you get the browns that you really want. I've never really found a brown that comes right out of the tube. And the brown that I usually find is brown, green, and oranges, even some blacks, reds. But they always need more than what they offer originally. There's still an element of fun happening, even though I've kind of turned up the heat. There's still an element of fun. It's still a fun painting. It's still a wild painting. Still exploration happening. But man, put the pressure on. It's fine. Like, hey, make this good. I want this good. Like, all this work for what? This? No way. Turn up the heat. Make it worth something. You're the only one that can make it worth something. You're the only one that can say, this is fucking gnarly. This is crazy. This is worth something. This is worth your time. This is worth your attention. That's it. It's not the money. This is just at least worth your attention. A modern day cherub in the middle of a world war. It's worth your attention. How much attention? Well, I won't get that conceded. But I'll demand your attention for a moment. Allow me to have your attention for a moment. I insist. I think we're gonna go back to this glaze here. Gonna need to add some more liquid. I want some of the skin to have like different blotches, different this brush is dry. It was this same brush, but just using it. It's like blotchy skin, pulling out certain highlights. It elevates certain areas very organically. I'm gonna commit to teeth, but I think when the teeth are not, when they don't come correct, I always assume this is hell. When the teeth are wrong, it's like, it's representing a sense of a dark place. However, if I can calm them down to just being cute and off, they won't be as hellish. I'm going to be going to the print shop soon. I went to the frame shop already, so it had some good drying time today. I think there needs to be like nostrils or something. I'm not sure yet. I don't know what's happening here. It's turning a little ghoulish. Reminds me also now of that movie Tusk, where the guy transforms the kid into a seal or a walrus. It's kind of like that. Not super like intense body horror, so at this point we're going with it, but I'll try to keep it in mind I want Cherub, man. I want Cherub. Don't lose sight of Cherub. Don't lose sight of Cherub. Here's one of the times that we're going pretty hard. Oh, I gotta get some liquid. Not too much, because we're taking a break shortly. Monitor yourself. See how you, when you're like running around and applying stuff, are you in chaos mode? Are you chill? Are you thoughtful? Where are you? Anyways, I'm going pretty deep black here. First time really hitting the black so hard. It is doused in liquid, so it's not as strong, but it is like basically black out of the tube with some liquid. Because I want this to dry now, so that I can hit it with some highlights, reflections. Pick an area. The whole top of the mouth is not black, just in a certain area. You can carve with this, like carving stone, but in the painting. Okay. Alkinity, bud. On. Kinity. Cap. So getting some. Yeah, like, so once we start getting into the detail mode, more of the painting presents itself. And I have to look at some like pubic hair. I don't know if I can say that. Oops. I haven't added more paint to my brush, just using everything that I've been putting down so far. No longer in the black, but definitely in the dark value. Lighten it up, but still it's shadowed, so it's not white by any stretch. I'm just wondering if there's an eye here or not. In theory, the eye would probably been placed already, but we didn't know what was really happening. We didn't know what's really happening. Some of these details right now will stay, and some will be removed, and some will be embellished and utilized. Some of them will be taken away. But that's the power of like these layerings. Is like some of them stay the entire painting, and some of them are just used to make things better. Going back to my yellows. I'm thinking about rubber ducks. Pulling in some of the kind of more washed skin colors again. That's more opaque. Definitely you can see it now, right? It's not as much of a glaze, but there's still glaze. It's still caked in liquid, but it's just a little bit more heavy with the pigment. Work it around. Be selective. Change your brush. Let's go to a dry brush. I don't really care what. Just move it around gently. attacking the sides, not so much the initial brush strokes, but the sides of everything to blend it in. Make it a little more, have a little more harmony. Harmony, baby. Because this is a cherub after all. Yeah, but you will start to see this thing come to life. Another really great reason why I'm glad I'm recording this whole damn thing, because it's just based on my experience. So like, I've been here many times before with this mindset of like, okay, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. And it just starts to really, becomes like, has a bit of like a regal feel. Like it's really well worked. It's really well painted in some areas. And it's really well composed, in my opinion. But just think of if I spent this much time on a chicken wing, right? Like these layers and this back and forth and this amount of time on a chicken wing, oh, be delightful. So I'm pretty excited about seeing what these chicken wing, I started writing them down. Chicken wings, how I can incorporate a painting, really like targeting chicken wings, raw chicken wings. And that idea came from this painting. It's another huge kind of secret of what's happening here. The whole time I'm thinking, I'm working, pushing and pulling, but my brain's also thinking a lot. This is a little more translucent, but the same colors here. I need them in. I need this kind of more washed, I wouldn't say realistic skin palette, but a little more, because again, I was looking at those Cherub paintings. They're more gray. There is more gray in their skin. So it's like kind of like an off-white. And that's why I keep going back to like the yellow, because it's like, okay, calm it down a little bit. I don't want the whole thing. Just looking for certain areas, and you want to unify the painting by bringing that color in everywhere. I really like this haunting face here. He's great. Very impasto. A lot of the brush work is showing here. I love it. I love it. I wish this even had more like of impasto look. Here's some. Something to think even about my chicken wing painting. Okay, how do we get more of impasto? Well, you just like really cake on that acrylic before you hit the oils and let that acrylic kind of settle, dry, obviously. How bright is this side highlight, this backlit highlight? Not too bright so far, because there's nothing really here. That's bright. We are actually, so let's go a little yellow and white. I don't have much yellow or white on my palette yet anymore. Let's try here. Very soft, just seeing how it looks. The whole eye is not brighter, it's just at the bottom where the light's getting caught. Can build the shape though as well. Kind of want it off hitting the background, but there seems to be some separation. There is some light hitting the hairs. I go back to my greens and browns. Moving the mouth around a little bit till I like it. I'm gonna add some pinks to that green and brown. I think he's gonna be drooling. Like, if this is like a creature, this morbid cherub probably has very little body function, body control, self-control. Get these buckles in now, and then they can be worked for a while. These straps. Do they hold something? Maybe like a trumpet? Oh God. Actually was trying to leave. I cleaned everything, but there's one thing, again, this is just strategy and plotting a little bit, but I need, before I go to the print shop, I need this pupil in here. I need this eyeball a little more intact before I let it go, because see what I'm doing now, I would have to do it after I left it to dry, and it would just set me back actually quite a lot. So I just don't want to lose this opportunity. In fact, the same thing at college, like, okay, you keep trying to hit this mouth with some darkness, get it in there, and then you don't need to, hopefully it doesn't need any more. To be honest, this is a little too dark. That's not the right color. See, it's really easy to go the other direction after it's been touched and left for a bit. But what I find is that when I add these darks, they always need work. So if I can get them in now before I take a break, they're a lot easier for me to work with later on than putting these in. Like, the eye is the perfect example. If I do this after my break, then I'm gonna have to let it kind of sit. But if I could do it now, it doesn't need to sit. It's gonna be sitting in between sessions. So I had to literally pull out the brushes just before I went outside, because it'll just serve me so much better. So there's a lot of planning, and you get used to that. You become aware of that kind of strategy and the plotting. What the painting's gonna need, what helps you the most. Kind of like got that walrus look, which is cool. Right, get those real heavy creases in now, please. Please. It's only going to help you later tonight and later today. Not everything is backlit. Hell, go a little harder. Just throw a little more black into the brown. Get these little details in here with the darks. Really love this line. This line kind of started to make it. They're not all just completely circular, right? They just come straight down. Some marks can be like too on the nose, right? Like, oh, it's round. No, come back and hit that later. Just adding character into some of these lines. Same goes with, even though this is brighter, it's really the same kind of logic. Get this in now so then you can work with it later. It is easier to work with, like, I don't need as much, I don't need it to be tacky as much as I need the darker colors to be tacky, like, so that they sit. Sometimes you got to go against your better judgment. Like, I was going to put the highlights on the upper side of the eye. No, go to the lower side. Nice, chill brushwork. Something doesn't make sense. Like, I noticed, like, this neck is weird. Throw some different glaze colors in there. Let's make it into a shape versus just this line. All right, we're coming back in for that stupid line. We're coming back in for some of that shadow work. That is starting to be more chiaroscuro in here, because when you're just playing purely in the shadows. Give him a chin. Move some of these strokes. Soften them. Okay, I got to run. So this had hours, I'd say like a good 3 hours to, again, dry it. And here we go with another glaze. Can you believe it? It's glaze time, baby. It's glaze time. Strategic, but it's a full wash. It's a full body wash. You don't want to hit anything that's going to cause you trouble. But I just want, this is like a unifying strategy to get everything, the entire body, even the darks, on the same, almost like with the same skin tone. It's almost like it's taking everything that we've done and dropping it into a vat to almost like dye it. Not a diet, but to dye the creature, dye the cherub. We're going to hit everything though. In this case, the belts don't matter, the straps. Kind of the mouth and eye matter a little bit to me, so I'm going to probably stay away, but no, we'll hit it. Because it is a wash, so it is very clear. It's very translucent, but it does have pigment. And I always want to get everything going. It's just a unifying wash. We're bathing it. We're giving it a glisten, a little skin suit. We're covering him up. And I think it's important. I think it's not always necessary to glaze the whole thing because of a number of reasons. But because we added so many different colors throughout, it's just important to give it a full body wash. Nice and coat it up good. Give it a real nice clean coat. It will thank you. I'll add a little darker pigment for the world below. This area we just added a little more dark brown. If anything's too heavy, you can use another brush to kind of smooth it out. Oh, even hit some of those highlights. But see, remember I painted that eye earlier so I could really have the ability to deal with it now. Remember, that was a big deal. I want to be able to coat everything and really move this painting forward. Now is the time. The heat is on. The heat is on. Don't worry. This won't be a singing channel. Don't you worry your pretty little heart. This will never be a singing channel. I was not put on this earth to sing. I was put on this earth to create little cherubs that you can hang above your mantle next to your novels and your spiritual literature. That's where my cherub belongs, next to your spiritual literature. Where should I? This guy belongs in your bathroom, or next to your spiritual literature. That's it. That's where he belongs. Guides you. Kind of maybe pray to it a little bit. He brings wishes. He listens very well. He tells you how to use ChatGPT. He listens to your sobs. He doesn't judge, but he doesn't forget. He knows what you're doing. But also has seen it all, so it doesn't really affect him like you might think it would. He's not human, but contains some human traits. If you do make wishes, if you do use him to make wishes, you have to thank him directly, not casually, but with a sense of earnestness. Be mindful of his presence. Introduce him to your company and your friends. Let them know that he is in the room and witnessing everything that takes place. He has a little journal that he keeps, right? Of course. Keeps tabs on everything, right? Little old school, but it works. He's not like Santa in that if you're a sinner, he's going to hold that against you. He's more of just an admirer and a friendly face, But again, we can't skip over the fact that he does grant wishes. So, and a really good listener. Really keeping an eye on this. This area that I'm painting right now is really important to me, kind of thinking about moving forward with some pieces. Maybe we can try the chicken wing with that kind of heavy impasto. Not sure if it's showing up on camera, but it's just really love the texture that happened there. It's like just really strong. It speaks to me. I've tried to buy impasto in Thailand, and it's like a no-go, or it's just frightfully expensive, like $100 for like a tube. They don't have, especially with oil, like acrylics are a little easier to make, almost like a makeshift, kind of homemade, or even find like a medium that will. So maybe I just answered my own question. You do the impasto work before the oil layers. Now I'm going to switch over to my fine brushes. I love these brushes so much. These ones. They really get me going. And you can really place the colors in where you need them. This looks pretty thick. It's not. It's just a different application of the brush. So I'm not pulling it as far as the other brush was. It is a little opaque, like it's not completely translucent. So it does cover differently, but it really is the application of the brush that makes it all the difference. And it's just time to go here now. And you see earlier in the tutorial, I tried to jump to this brush too soon, that's all. And I just wasn't ready for that yet. If you put on too much, I almost did over here, you can just grab a dry brush, the same brush, a 00. That's what I just refer to them as, like a 00 pointed brush. I believe it's like synthetic. You can just dry brush it around, move it around, like take some, pull it down. disperse it. But then you can even decide, I'm just adding a little more brown and red in here instead of giving it now I go back to the dry brush. But we're doing the full body cleanse here. You lose some, but you gain a lot, and you also keep some. It's like a nice fine balance. Be mindful, take your time. Start carving that strap. Now is the time. Might even add a little. Oh my God. I'd add a little blue into this mix, which kind of makes a green. Too much. Coming the other way. I keep lying to you about showing you my palette. I am going to show you one more time because this is kind of a more critical spot we're in. So here's the red brown that I'm talking about. Over here's the liquid. And then here's my peach, the main skin color. And then I brought it over here to really thin it out. But now I'm working, that's when I said, oh, it's too much. I'm working in this, so. Okay. Hopefully I don't do that again. I just don't want to get into that as being my main. I don't want it to be the main focus. I really just want to be able to free ball and tell stories about this cherub, etc. But sometimes you add colors because I don't want this hump necessarily to be the same as the neck. We did bring some darkness and shadow over here. So if you change some of the colors, maybe aiming certain values, like a little bit darker values, and not touching everything. Both these brushes now are tainted, so we'll just clean them right off. And we'll go into a full dry mode, just to start again, start fresh. I'd say by the time I do this, they're almost completely dry. What I'm doing right now, though, has to be done, and it has to be done now. Otherwise, I'm just gonna keep adding glazing layers and never kind of aiming for completion. Was talking about the low lights. I think that's too much highlight, but let's see what happens. Add a little more glaze. Put your spots in. Over here needs a lot of work actually, so let's tend to this now. Yes, we have a lot of glaze in there, but there's just no real shape. There's no real figure happening. I found this to be too pale, so I just had some color, added some orange. Same brush, now just move around some of the rework. Calm everything down that you've done. Go around. Calm everything you've done. Have some confidence. Because we really want, what I'm trying to accomplish is like a final product. A final character. Like, this guy's got to be finished. Yes, and the fun part is, like, yes, of course, as absurd as he is, as abstract as he is, surreal, all the above, but there still has to be a final product, especially when he spent this much time on it. It's just for you. At the end of the day, it's for you. And then, as I've gone over many times, and then the afterthought is, and you want to find a home for him. Now, in the world we live in, and just kind of probably how you found me, I am thinking about editing a video, not so much the long version, but what music I'm going to be using. Smashing Pumpkins have a song called Cherub Rock, which is really like pretty aggressive rock song. It's catchy and semi-popular, and I think that might be a good representation of this guy. Somewhere, like, if you don't know what kind of shade of color, somewhere in the middle would be good. And that will help you, because then you're like, oh no, it's got to go a little deeper, or it needs to go a little lighter. So just kind of go in the middle, right? You'll figure that out right away. But you see this layer now that we've done. I did go a little bit harder. Like, it's not just translucent. Like, I am a little heavier in the pigment right now, so I am covering more. However, you can really start to see him come alive as we speak. As we speak. Everything's kind of unifying. You have to make a decision here, like, how dark are we going to go down? How light are we going to go here? Because once I start having like the folds and everything set up, we can get really into the fine details, which kind of we're already doing, to be honest. I'm going to go with red. We're going to not go straight purple, but we're going to make our own ready blue. So this is like, it looks like a brown, but it's actually should be in the purple family here. So even if I went too light over here, you can just bring it up a little bit. Bring it down, sorry. This down would be darker. You know what I'm saying? It's not too deep. It's not really aggressive, but this is a nice little, like, you keep making mixes and mixes and mixes. And one cool thing about glazing like this and layering like this is the colors don't have to match what you did 4 hours ago. They have to be in the same wheelhouse, the same arena, but you have your palette, so it's not good. It's pretty easy. You can add some color, you can go base, like, you can aim for something similar, but you can also get funky. Go heavier pigment with that purpley brown that you made. Start cutting that hair. Face is always the most important. So in theory, it should get most of your attention. When you do like a full figure like this though, you can't abandon. I probably will not be putting as much work into here as I have in the face, for example, but you can't abandon them completely. You can't, unless there's like, sometimes you'll get lucky, you'll get certain things that are pretty strong and don't need too much attention. That's fine, but that's a conscious decision. Here might need more work than I'd like to admit. That's fine. Let's see what happens. If you're not sure, just maybe add like a nice block here. Don't I was gonna say like less is more, but by doing, in this case, it's almost like no, you need to go backwards, like to a full block of like a full shape versus like very diluted areas. Let me try to say that again. So right now I want like a strong block. So I'm calling this like a block, this square a block. I want a strong block here. I don't want it to be, how would I describe that? I'm aiming, this is a totally dry brush now. I'm still diffusing this block, but it's like a solid color. I want some solid color versus everything is translucent. Maybe that's the best way I can say it. A lot of these areas are benefiting from being completely like built up upon layers, but at some point in some areas, you want some strong imagery and some strong shapes to really to pull together the definition. Not everything can be translucent or appear that way. I want to have some shapes throughout this figure. This figure is, yes, a blob, but it has shape. And in order to define these shapes, there needs to be some strong colors that are not as translucent as some of the other areas. But because we built up in layers that I'm still adding liquid, and I wouldn't say this is totally glazing right now, but they do work in tandem and they do work together. You know, that's not that strong. You're able to keep some of the work you've done before. In a lot of cases, a lot of the work. But when I say like be decisive and confident, this is kind of what I'm doing. I'm like, hey, I want this to be finished, and in order to be finished, I'm not looking through like one of those like squids that are see-through. No, this guy is an angel, not a squid. Have confidence. Know what you're doing. Especially when you're playing in fantasy and absurdism. pretty excited to keep working on this, but it is dinner time. So this will sit in front of the fan again. If you pace yourself right too, you can really work with what you've done. Might be the most important thing I've said in this entire video. If you pace yourself right and not overconfident and not in a rush, you can start to see things like, I see this little lump in the head. I don't want to cover that. I like it. All right, I'm going to want to do that for this area. What do I see here? What can I kind of cover up and form and mold? And what can I leave? But if you get your pacing right, you can really work with what you've built over the last, in this case, couple days. Not everything's going right now, even though I'm telling you, in some areas they are. I'm not only washing it, but I'm rebuilding it to its final form. But you gotta know what to keep, that what works and makes this whole little creature work. I put this little divot there so I'm gonna get dark in it. There's it's very subtle. We're playing in subtle territory right now. I hope you like playing in this area as much as I do, like the subtleties and the little nuances in the skin. It's the funnest place. It's the most enjoyable part of the painting so far. Gives me confidence that I'm going to get this right too then. I'll leave a little color here before I go on dinner break. It's kind of starting to look like a hand. Maybe that's what it is. That's cool. Really unintentional, but I just see things in it. So if a hand makes the most sense, a hand is what it will be. Like a cartoon Mickey Mouse hand, maybe. Cool. So as I was saying, we're talking about skin, and if you happen to stumble upon the internet and see a human breast, yes, you can see the veins. Yes, you can see the nuances in the skin, but there is a dominant body there. There is a dominant shape and a dominant color. And then the nuances are within and subtle. I'll soften these lines, but I just want a little more engagement with the face. So we're adding kind of lids, eyelids. things really start to come together. So I have some direction. I was eating dinner and walking past this piece as I was finishing up, and I just realized, like, okay, I see some more. I kind of know what I need to do, not necessarily because it kind of like pieces just keep slowly revealing themselves. So I don't have a complete plan for everything, but I definitely have more of a vision, and that is nice. So because we have the belt here, I think we're gonna go belt here. I'm thinking about like a realistic trumpet to really sell the Cherub element. I think the trumpet will help a lot. I think this belt. So let me do the belt right now. I have a little hesitation when I add. Let me get my brown right. So I have a little hesitation to get the brown, or sorry, the belt in here, but let's do that now. So we'll do. That worked out nice. But I think it's even going to come down. Cross over here. Come over. Like that. We'll probably hug some of that like how we did over here. Get some of this color, this nice brown that we whipped up. Pick where your little buckles are. So you can kind of see, I don't know, it might be a little hard on screen, but you can see how this looks a little more polished and finished. Not completely, but I just mean a little more because of the layers. Whereas this, as you might be able to see, it's a little less. So what I'll do is just add a little darkness to it. And here's a bit of a realization. This painting is not going to be finished today. We're going into day 3, baby. So I kind of want to do like the strap wrapped around. Yeah, and for whatever reason, I think because I'm putting so much work into this, because I'm really aiming to give you my first kind of ever full tutorial. So I might as well really bring something to the table, right? Kind of pull out a lot of the tricks that I have. And And part of the reason is I might be able to pull this off today. In all honesty, I might be able to, if I push really hard, I might be able to pull this off today, but I don't want to edit the video, not the whole, I don't even want to edit like a short reel. I want to take my time, which is kind of not typically my MO. I don't like to take my time sometimes. I really like rushing. There's some benefits in that. But with this case, I think it's in my best interest to really take my time, even getting that trumpet as I go. I think I am going to do that. So that'll come together. Actually, I kind of actually have some faith that will come together pretty nicely. It's weird not listening to music. It's weird not listening to podcasts. I'm just relying on the echo of my voice and my brain. That's a clear example of like adding and subtracting, right? I'm not saying this looks good by any stretch, but just pulling it together. I think it's a hand, but I'm not sure. Here's another thought I had actually earlier in the day. If this was a piece that was set out from the beginning and I didn't find anything, and it was just something, an image I had on my tablet, this would have been done okay, maybe a day and a half, maybe. But because we had to find this cherub in the mix and there was no real direction for the longest time, that's what took so long. Because I should do another tutorial where I just straight up use a reference image off the jump with no deviation, and you will see a significant different kind of pace, a significant different, like output. It's dramatic. Because even from the when I'm using acrylics, I would be shaping this head and this face instead of having no direction. So it's kind of another, I would say actually that's a good thing for having like, I don't know, like a 6 or 7 hour long tutorial. I think it's going to be that long. I'm pretty sure we're maybe even longer. And I'm kind of glad I'm doing that. I'm just sacrificing, like I said, music and podcasts, which I find can help, especially obviously music goes without saying, but music is kind of, it's almost like a tool like a brush. I keep passing along the Kurt Vonnegut quote that says, the only proof of the existence of God is music. And it's kind of, a lot of artists hold music at such high esteem. I think for good reason. get in a flow and you work, things just really flow differently than when there's no music playing. It can even save a painting, and it can bring things to life differently. It's magical. But I feel like I'm preaching to the choir with something like that. And as I get older, like, finding new music that I like is definitely like one of my favorite pastimes. And they use social media now, like the radio. When I was growing up, you'd hear new songs on the radio, obviously selected pop stuff, and predominantly, that the record labels push and stuff. But besides that, you would hear music on the radio, and there'd be shows that would actually play what you want to hear. And especially as you get out of like adolescence, then you actually have some taste, certain musics that you enjoy over others. I remember discovering Pink Floyd and music that was just like unbelievable, that wouldn't be played typically. Well, there'd be a couple stations that play oldies, and you had Q107 and stuff. This would be like my parents' generation, their favorite songs, and that rubbed off on me. But today there's no radio. That does not exist. So what I see artists doing, like musicians, is they basically create different shorts, and not music videos, but they're kind of like music videos, and they just keep pumping out their songs through different videos. Some are better than others and like more engaging, but they just keep pumping out their songs through social media. So much so that, like, I'll hear a song from a brand new or like a new band, and I'm like, this is fantastic, and then I use it for my painting videos. So I get to kind of like support in a nice, easy way to like push their music. And that's where I hear a lot of new music. Obviously, my number one is Spotify, and I have a lot of people these days sending me music. So if you're hearing this, send me music. Hit me on Instagram, send me some songs that you think I need to hear. Anything really, which is nice. And so Spotify has some, obviously, like Discover Weekly or whatever they have, and that's key. And then I have my playlist that I typically go to be honest. I know what I like and what I like to hear, and it just keeps growing. So it often feels new. But just to wrap it up and mention, but hearing new songs on TikTok and Instagram, oh, that is just so rad. And it's so cool to see people taking like, hey, I make music, here's my music. And that's what they do all day long, every day in their social media world, is push their songs. And so cool. It's so rad. They're making their own radio station, or I guess the social media platforms, the radio station, but they use it. They get to go out there and put out their music. And I have so many ideas for like, how you should present that, right? You could even use like AI videos for just videos, but then put your tracks behind it. And I'm sure a lot of them are doing that already, and of course, show yourself playing your music, obviously. But I mean, there's just so many ways for you to recycle your songs and get them out there and keep pushing them and remixing the content to get your music out there. I think is just so beautiful and cool. Such a new world, really. And it really works. The last thing I'll say on it is it really works, because I hear it all the time. For whatever reason, the algorithm does push like stuff that's not like super trendy. It'll push stuff that's like kind of niche into my feed. So it's got to be doing that in other cases too. So it's not a hopeless act. It's not a fool's errand. It's worth it. And I see there's a couple artists that I see. I think it's a grind, but sometimes they pop. It's a bit like gambling, right? Social media. Because you hope you pop, you hope you catch something, you hope you catch a wave, like surfing. So you keep putting yourself out there and you keep pushing, but if it's your own music, it's your own currency, really, right? Very similar overlap with posting your art on social media. You're just posting your own currency over and over and over again. And you try to be creative with how you do that. When I see a lot of like kind of old school contemporary artists, like they're just not really there right now. And sometimes like I think they get help or they figure it out, and some of them don't. And it's just like the new medium, the new world for a while now. It's not. I'm not saying anything new, but just as far as art, like thousands of people are seeing your work, and before that, there's always artists that get picked up and they do get great exposure, but for the most part, artists in my lifetime, like earlier, you'll never get a chance for thousands of people see your work. Even if getting 1,000 people to see your work takes multiple posts and a build up to equal 1,000, even then you wouldn't have that opportunity. I remember like there's certain like art fairs that you could do that are like a little lower level, but you still have to submit and get accepted. And you'd get 1,000 people walking by, that are interested in art, so it's a little more targeted. That still exists anyway. But where can you every day, every week, all year round, post your work? And it has potential for a lot of people to see it. And certain platforms are better than others. And you get like, I had a really hard time with certain apps where I just wasn't getting anything. But then on other apps, I was starting to pop a little bit. So I put more energy in what was working. And I think where the real pushback, if I'm listening to myself, is like, okay, you want to spend all your time posting on social media, but it's your own art. You're doing it for yourself. So if you find a way that you actually like to do it, like you like exposing yourself, we don't have a lot of options. That's why, as cringy as it is, and you see the people turning their paintings, they turn their paintings, but we don't have a lot of options. Like you either watch us paint or show you the painting itself or talk about it, and then we try different things to make the art more digestible or like have an experience so that, people can see it. But if you can find creative ways, because we're creative people, to help people find your work, that's part of the art. Probably get pushback on that because, I think traditionalists or people a little old, like my age or a little older, like, well, you should just be painting, not worrying about it getting exposure. Fair, but we've also never lived in a world where you can get your own exposure at this level. So that's the counter. And playing in that world, I used to think it was so cringy and so shitty and such a sad existence. I honestly don't feel that way anymore. I see the big galleries out there and I see them prostituting themselves and trying to make TikToks to get their people to come to their gallery, for the love of God. Like it's everyone's in the same boat. And yes, there's tiers to this game. There's some artists out there and some galleries that you don't even need to know they exist. They don't care. Fine. But this is not for them. This message is not for them. Fine. For everybody else, figure out a way that you like, that where you can actually kind of enjoy it. You kind of enjoy engaging with the community and finding your way. And even if it's a nice little polite little community, is fine. It's a good starting point. And you get like, there's nobody to stop you. So that's where I look at it. Like, whereas like, if you are playing in the gallery world, there's some hurdles and gatekeepers and all kinds of stuff you have to be concerned with or let go, and they take care of it. we live in a world where you can kind of manage your own, and there's so many artists I can show you that will never get picked up a gallery, but they're rich. They're fucking rich from being good at social media and their art, like combinations, not just one or the other. Some actually are good at social media and their art's terrible. That's cool too. Good for them. They figured it out. The new world. Think about all the Procreate painters. Like, in all honesty, actually, a lot of their work's really good. So I'm not judging that, but just like they can create stuff that actually looks good on the phone because they're using a digital medium. Whereas this painting, you really do have to see it in person or buy it and anticipate it, how great it is. Right? But with a digital artist, they can use, exactly what you're getting because it's made on the screen for the screen in a sense. And then maybe get a print or something, right? We are there. You can't, it's undeniable. And then for me, I'm old enough where I'm just a traditional painter. I always will be. I might dabble on one day. I haven't yet on the tablet. But for me, I enjoy the beauty of and the tactile application of oil paint. It's kind of what gets me out of bed. So that won't change this lifetime. But kudos to the people that were able to pick up and really work with the new mediums and stuff like that. Because still at the end of the day, you're being creative and you're figuring it out. And now AI is a whole other subject, right? I can give you a few AI people that let's call it their art, even if you barf in your mouth. But I can give you a few that they're consistent. It looks really good. A lot of it is motion, like movies or like actual, what is it, live action, or how would you describe? Like they're films, short films. That's a stretch, but they're consistent. They're captivating. They're so crazy, and it's like I want to see more. So, yes, they built it by prompting it, but they know what they like, and they're curating to an extent. So I would say for AI, here's how I can make a case for why it's art, because they're curating it. They're deciding what to show the world. Right? So they're saying this is this is art. That's what they're saying. And here you go, look at my art that I created that I'm showing you. So making that was Andy Warhol. This is art. He's telling you that it's art. He's not waiting for someone else to tell you that it's art. He's telling you it's art. And people listen to him. So when someone shows you something AI that they did for the first time, there's probably a bit of a gap where you're like, well, if you do that for 4 more years, well, maybe we'll take you kind of seriously. Maybe we have to take you seriously. And I know a few artists that are doing that are so in. They're just running with it. And there's an advantage there. Is it, at the end of the day, do I think they're in the same game? Maybe they're just not in the same game as much, but they're still creating stuff. They're still taking the time to even post it, which is not a high bar. And they're telling you that it's fucking AI, so at least you'll give them, like, they're not pretending it's not, which is just absurd, right? I just think the reason why I have a bit of I'm not as critical about it is because I find it so fucking fascinating, this new world and how it affects me personally in my art. And I've seen so many images that inspire me, and that like the old stuff, and like when I can take a reference photo, which I do all the time, like, oh, tilt the head this way. And I used to do it all by Photoshop, all of it, and it would take hours. I don't have to do that anymore. I want to, like, when I look up skulls, when I look up a trumpet, if I don't see anything on Google Images immediately, I will go to an AI generator and say, hey, give me a trumpet on this angle, like pointing down. Of course I will. Oh my God, why wouldn't I? As I meant, okay, make it a little, give it a little shadow. So getting your reference photos from AI is unbelievable. I can show you all the image I used to do, where I created a reference photo in Photoshop. This is kind of cool because this is like kind of the opposite of all that. This painting in particular, it's really just building something from scratch, from your imagination. So that's why, not that my opinion should matter, but that's why saying, like, I even though I'm I'm painting something that's not using AI, I'm still for it overall. Just call it what it is, AI. I made it. This is the style that I'm into. And I do think it puts more value in the traditional work, though. If everyone's doing AI and not oil painting, I think the value overall for oil painting should, in theory, slightly go up. So go ahead, do AI. But I think if you look at like movies and cartoons and stuff, I would, if I was going to make a cartoon, I would like use AI to make the cartoon. Mind you, I was painting cartoons in my paintings last week or 2 weeks ago, so painting little animations. So I got my belt. I want to get the trumpet. I need some time to go look at that. All right. Had my dinner. Let this sit for a bit. I made a decision to add like a horn. So I got some reference photos of a trumpet or like a horn. I think it's more of a horn than a trumpet. But I think what we'll do is so when adding something, like, okay, where is it going to be? We're drawing it out, but we got to be a little bit mindful. So I want to put that, like the opening or the large horn part here, let's say. Why? Because I want to do that. I want to. Sorry, totally got sidetracked there. Oh God. This happens with my brain. Just gets I like this color. So I thought I would just throw it in a little bit. Anyway, also, I don't care if the hand is, so let's kind of imagine, just, you see these light lines, they are going to determine the horn. That's it. Yeah, I think so. So the horn is here. Because it's like surreal, we're going to get into like the dolly territory of a horn. Meaning, I don't care if it's real. I do care that you know it's a horn. That's the dolly secret. If you know what, Dali would just make up his own version of an object, but he had the skill and the craftsmanship to make it look like an elephant, but the elephant had extended limbs. And so for this to match the vibe, we will throw the horn. Now, the fun thing is, what I'm doing actually is just like creating. So I don't really have a reference photo for this, but I have a trumpet. Because everything is so abstract and messy, it's really super easy to like finesse things. But I just need, because I told you I can't believe we're going into day 3, we are. So this will be drying all tonight. You know, now you kind of hear me saying the same things, but it is just the same things over and over again. It's the same principles over and over again. There's the horn. And then you just keep working on it like how you work on everything else. I really like a lot of this. But what's really nice, like just as your painting goes on, as in your like your career or your vocation or your hobby or passion, like I used to have so many phases where you would call it, you might have heard this already. I didn't coin the phrase, but like ugly phases. Here's the ugly phase of the horn, and I have no trepidation. I have no hesitation. Like I'm totally comfortable that I'll be able to produce a horn. And that's so, like, compared to where I used to be, oh my God, like the horn might have took me 3 days. Maybe not quite, but like it would have been a disaster, and it probably wouldn't have turned out that very good. So it's such a nice place to be these days, where even if I have an ugly stage, there could be things that I get discouraged by. For sure, that's the joy of painting, where, you know, some things are just not working. You either have to shift ideas or change plans, but for the most part, it's like if I really want to paint a trumpet, I can paint a trumpet. And that's so cool. And if I want to paint a trumpet that looks warped or confused, we can do that too. Die. I think that's a really big benefit of painting over the years, is kind of showing you that in real time, like saying like, yeah, I can paint this and I can paint that and I can do this, I can do that. Now, I might not be the best trumpet painter in the world, but if I can get it good enough to let you know it's a trumpet and let it match the surroundings and let it be somewhat semi-realistic, I win, as far as I'm concerned, because it's just matching my vision. I have all these ideas and all these visions and concepts, and I used to paint them, but I wouldn't execute very well. It took me years and years and years to be able to execute my ideas to where, like, oh my God, you can paint, man. So now when I have an idea, it's like, I can paint that. And it puts more emphasis on the actual idea too. Because it's like, should you paint that? Is that a good idea? No, you can. Is that the best use of your time? So it adds this element of a little bit of pressure on my ideas. even for something like this where you have no idea where it's going to end up. Look where it ended up. We're going to do a little pink, a little red, not too much red, more pink. Glaze. I really like this like kind of dog. If you ever seen like a wounded dog, their scars are, that's what it reminds me of, unfortunately. Like a road rash or something. But if I have to like tighten it like it though, I notice the horns like going in. Easy peasy. So first I'll show you how to do that. There's actually, I saw some cool artists, they have a tool, like a rubber kind of palette knife, but it's rubber. And it just scoops the paint right off. Or you can just use a brush. But I think there is use for that rubber. I actually want one. I haven't found one. I found one and it didn't seem to do the same, didn't have the same application as the artist I follow. But now it looks more like a horn. And when I add the small details and the highlights, there's your fucking horn. Let's do the same thing with his hand. We won't even do the whole hand. We'll just do some of the hand. These are the magics of glazing. I just like this a lot, but we'll still get some red going around. Too much? That's fine. Clean your brush. This is, see, once I do this, we're in like the high 90s of dry, which is important. These little marks matter because, as you've seen, as the whole thing comes together, it's a slow build. It's the ultimate slow build. Take off some of the paint. So this is not really a dry brush, but it's just clean. Use what you have. Now, obviously, this isn't like any musicians out there would say that's clearly not a trumpet, but anyone else who's not a musician would say, wow, that's a trumpet. I don't even know if I've ever held, I must have held a trumpet in school. Never played. I think I've tried to play it and I couldn't pull it together. Like I couldn't make a sound. And if I made a sound, it wasn't. I'm trying to honestly remember if I've ever played a trumpet. I think I've like put my mouth on it. Who hasn't put their mouth on a trumpet once or twice in their life? As Bob Ross would say. Well, you can get a little bit, I would say this is like more of a mid-tone than this is like, currently what I've created is some of the darker values. You get the mid going. This will be helpful in the morning. You see, I stayed away from some of the glazing with this. So sometimes glazing, it's like, did I need to glaze everything to get here? Kind of, in all honesty. To get it where it's at, yes. However, not to be and ask for, but maybe to the untrained eye, I could probably paint some without glazes and you'd think it's just as good. It's just a different process. And maybe it's not even, maybe there is some real, criticism that should be looked at, like where, like if I just went for it, thick layers, a couple dry times instead of multiple dry times. However, I just feel like this is such a refined, not process, but finished product. So it's not just a refined process. Yes, it's a refined process. It's a slow burn. It's the finished product that I'm sold on. And when I look at it, like when I took these breaks and I would come in the room and look at it, I'm so happy I got this on camera, this whole experience. I really am. I'm really grateful. For a while there, I thought this was such a kind of a waste of time because I didn't think this piece would validated all this talking, all of this work, all this recording. I didn't. I would look at it a few times like, this is just another one of my stupid, silly paintings. But here I am putting in a lot of effort, not only in the painting, but in the recording process and the breakdown and what I'm doing and my thoughts. Thoughts are fine. Thoughts I can talk about during any kind of painting, to be honest. I think I should get in the habit of that. But this piece just didn't, I thought like, what, dude, it's a good idea to talk in your paintings and walk people through it, but not for this piece. This is just, but let's jump ahead now. I am really glad because this is really I paint a lot of pop culture stuff and a lot of even time sensitive stuff or things that are happening in our world and, kind of pseudo celebrities and all that stuff. And so it's very pop culture based. And it's like candy art sometimes, and it's lowbrow, and you might put this in lowbrow. Maybe, I don't think so though. I'm going to say this is fine art. Yeah, you heard it here. It's a goddamn masterpiece. And I got it on camera. And I really mean that. No, you can disagree with a chuckle and totally not see it that way. That's cool. However, let me give you my best case. This figure holds so much. There's so much going on. It is ghoulish, it is silly, but it's a cherub. And cherubs have been around in art for centuries. I'm no cherub expert, but I have not seen a lot of paintings of cherubs in my day. But here we are painting a traditional cherub that's been thrown in the Tilley tornado. And I just think it came out swimmingly. In fact, I think it came out so well that I'm just so glad I got it on camera. Like, I'm actually really excited. I just think it's original, really, at the end of the day. You're the one that will determine whether it finds a home, whether it's a great painting or not. I really like it. And I'm really glad I got this process on camera. But back to just kind of the glaze, so this will be glazed because, like I said, it's going to be brought into tomorrow. It's pretty late here already again. But we got the basics in. We got I think there's like a couple turns in here. The tubes are twisting and turning. I don't know how that kind of goes up like that, yeah. So that a little more yellow. Get that golden brass. And to finish my thought on the video and like why I think it's because it's just an original piece. That's all. It's like a totally manifested before your very eyes. It's not something I've been, another Steve Buscemi wearing a He-Man wig, which is also a great piece, but just different style, different concept, different application. A discovery, right? Nothing was plotted out. We went actually in a couple of directions as far as I remember. I thought I was going to go one way, then I went another way, then went back to the original. What we'll do now is, gotta be careful because you can get a little muddy, you can get a little, make things a little greasy, so let's go with the green. So I am creating a glaze, very thin, but dark. And I want there just to be like this shadow here. It'll only work with pretty strong lines. Like the horn needs to have some strong lines. So it will pop out. But there's just like this shadow, it's casting a shadow. And also, thought of this too, I don't want the belt here. The belt is going to be going one great color for shadows, little tip, orange, brown, black, orange. Orange is a great shadow color, especially with like skin and orange, brown, black, more black. But orange is the dominant. It brings a really strong shadow. And there's a lot of there's a lot of depth in that color. Essentially it's a dark brown, right? But orange is the dominant color that I'm using. Kind of try to craft these hands. I'm not sure what's happening here. Just yet. You see we're twisting them and turning them. The brass will have all kinds of reflections and little highlights and things like that. Go a little harder. Again, this is just for the lines. Really to isolate the horn from everything else. I don't like this hand yet. This is the ugly phase of the hand. Just felt a little bit of trepidation. That's the word I was looking for earlier. That's fine. I might, hey, you know what? Even if I have to look at a hand, my hand or a reference, it's fine because I want to give it some attention and I want it to be, I think I want it to be a hand. I don't know. I don't really care. I care about the horn, for example. I don't care about the hand. I care about this guy's face and maybe some hair. I care about the overall, like, what's happening here. It's almost like it would be better. Fucking remove it. If I had to be brutally honest, just get it out of there. I blew it out. I haven't given it enough attention yet. There we are. Even this might need a reference now because I'm not even sure what it is, even though it's kind of like alluding to something. I'm cool with it being abstract and uncertain, but there's the blow thingy. Well, maybe there's something there. Let's go a little deeper into the darkness and maybe hands coming like that. Normally I think I'm winding down. One question I'm thinking about, like, okay, is this done? And what I mean by that is that I put myself in a bit of a different position tomorrow. When I'm gonna attack this tomorrow, it's almost like a bit of a different, like a true finishing carpenter. We're talking about the trim and maybe even like being sometimes the carpenters have to get called back to the house after they're finished to fix up a few things, some dents or scratches. And are we there? That's what I was asking myself. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? So we have that yellow brass from the trumpet. See my brush strokes, they're all going this way, like with the pike. You could even get carried away with that, but it's important. I'm gonna plant my finger here. trumpet, I'm really happy with the trumpet because I know what I can pull out of this. It's kind of exactly what I wanted it to do. Did it need a trumpet? No, but I think it adds mystery now. This musical instrument adds a level of mystery and some realism that you should look at the painting a little longer. That's the intention of the trumpet. Like, hey, what is this artist saying now? I think it invokes that kind of reaction. Saying it out loud sounds pretty pompous and conceited maybe, but I told you this is what this video is, just echoing what's in my head. And I don't really care if you think I'm pompous or not. Look at this fucking art, it's ridiculous. But I do think it's a masterpiece. If you had to ask me, gun to my head. And that's why I got pretty stoked to go on that rant about catching it on the video, because maybe I'm just really happy that I liked the painting so much. So having it on video is just I feel like a really big bonus for me personally, because if I was talking this whole time, recording for 8 hours, and the painting turned out and I didn't really like it, it would be a kind of a bummer. I typically don't leave paintings that I don't like though, but there's definitely pieces I like better than others. That's for sure. That is a fact. And this piece right now I'm really sold on. I just really like it. I think it's fascinating. So I got an interesting brown, I got the green here. Got a nice glaze again. It's getting a little funky. Let's pull that purple into the brown I just mixed. The purple is instead of black. So it adds like so many variants of shadow. It wasn't dark enough, so I did just put some black in it though. I don't know I don't remember making that mark on that forehead. It's fine, I don't remember. I don't know how that happened. I'll probably be able to see it because I'm gonna go through the video stuff later. When did that mark, that streak happen? Probably easier than you think because I can just fast forward and see when it's there and when it's not. Look at the conversation we're having now. Riveting. Find the marks. Getting browns in there. Probably should get some yellows in there. I got it out, so it's almost finished. Get your brush right. Kind of want a sad eye here. Hungry eyes. This at least looks worked. Sometimes you just want to have things that look like they're worked. That gives you some get out of jail free. So then no one can ever question your intentions because it's been worked. If it's unworked or left untouched or molded, there has to be some sort of intention. You have to make the intention clear. Even if you do something that's really basic and sloppy or like confused or abstract on purpose, you have to show that. And there's a million different ways to be able to do that, but you have to show that right now I don't have an excuse why this has not been worked in my head. This is just a conversation in your head. Why isn't this worked? We'll work it. And then you're going to have, or really isolate it and make it, if you want it to be different, or then you have to really prove that. Right? If I want to make this like lime green or something, give it like a wash or something, do something. We're not going to do that, but that would indicate like, hey, it's supposed to look like that. Right now, I don't have an excuse in my head to even to go, oh no, it's finished. That's good. I like it. Because I guess I don't like it. If I liked it, maybe, then it's going to qualify for it being worked or left. Oh yeah, I do want to make these little gross sausage fingers. Cool thing about painting is like, I think I'll speak for everyone here. Like when you're into it, you remember, you're like, oh yeah, I was going to touch this. I was going to do this. And it slowly comes around at some point. You might just end up seeing it, but before I looked at it, I remembered I wanted to touch the sausage fingers. I also want to clean up. Oh, I'm tired, guys. It's been a long 3 days. Had a sale this morning. That was really cool. Really cool. We're going to Texas, I think. Some of my best work lately, too. They had a good eye. That was really awesome. Really motivating, really special. Less liquid. Just cut around it. Form them how you like. But it's kind of the same principle I was saying earlier. Just make them worked and finalized. Oh, that's another good word to use. Make them finalized. If you don't indicate that it's finalized, I find that to be like a liability in the painting. If the viewer's questioning, why is it like that? I don't like why, there can be good questions like that. Like that might pose a good question. Why did you do that? That could be a good question, but it also could be a bad question. It's almost like a form of criticism. So you do that for yourself. You criticize for yourself. You ask questions about your paintings, especially while you're painting. Why is it like that? Do you want it like that? Are you happy with that? Perfect example of what I'm doing right now. No, I'm not happy with the fingers not being worked. I really want them to look like cartoonish children fingers. Thank you very much. There's obviously some rivets or divots or holes. There's obviously some shadows. Look at that jumping around. Jumping around. This finalizes the point on, I've said it before already in this video, but like, it doesn't have to make sense. It just has to look good. And the only way to make it look good typically is to work on it. Sometimes you get lucky and certain things just come together. They don't need a lot of work. They need to be touched and everything. He hasn't been I just like where he ended up. He's not amazing or anything, but he's interesting and he's saying something. He's speaking. Not literally. But he's alive down there. There's life here. But it, like, for these belts, I'm not looking for like a realistic, like, oh, they flow like this, they flow like that, and they're holding something on purpose. Like there's a actual purpose for these things. No, but they've been worked and they make sense. And you know what they are. Or at least you're starting to understand, okay, there's, for whatever reason, sir, there's straps here. Now, normally before I was just plotting in some glazing, but now there'll be some more rhyme and reason for the glaze, a little more thoughtful. I told you this is like kind of like I noticed when I looked at it earlier, it looks like a bit like a dog with road rash or something. When the dogs get hurt on the face, it's so sad. They're all busted up. Maybe not a dog, it just looks like road rash now. See, this is really loose, but I'm intentionally not going to be changing that from what I know, especially right now. So you start making artistic choices and you have to convince the audience that it's on purpose or it's intentional. Because if it wasn't good, they're trusting you to fix it and change it. I think maybe that's one of the most profound things I've said in this fucking video. After a while, and as you get older, the people do trust you. Like, hey, you've been painting this long. There's a sense of trust there, right? There has to be. It's just inevitable as you age as an artist. Kind of like that. Trust me. You need to trust me. It's good like that. I'm an artist. Trust me. And I'm kind of dead serious. That's perfect. It looks like bent or something. Beautiful. As Ross always said, Mr. Ross. Happy little accident. Okay. Stuff is happening. That's good. Can't fault me about that. Stuff is happening. Got some dark here. I want to touch certain areas. Define the mouth a little bit more. Define the teeth. Don't have a lot of paint on my brush, which is essential for little things like this. Very little paint. can do a lot of destruction and a lot of magic. The more paint on things like that, the more destruction. So one artist, I believe it's Joel Ria rather, he used to take his brush, like he would put paint on, like there's paint on there if you can see it, and then he would wipe it off first before even applying. And I've been doing it ever since I saw him do that. Don't tell him. But it is just ingenious because it just really goes to show you how little paint you really need to make magic happen. And how controlled he is and how well he knows his tools. So I'm passing that little tip along. And I'm sure the other artists do that. I just found that to be so cool. And as far as I'm concerned, that's the coolest thing I saw that year. Whoa, you wipe your brushes first? You just never thought of that. Didn't even like comprehend that. You just put a little paint on the brush. Not go that far to wiping your brush off first. Oh my God, like crazy. Crazy when you think about it. Really. And just to put a pin on that, or a bow on that, like it changed my art. Same with my buddy Ryan, an incredible surrealist, gothic, modern painter named Ryan Rader. He told me, oh dude, I just use liquid, blah, blah, blah. Like he said it so passingly. And I didn't know what liquid was. And I was an oil painter at the time. I just was using definitely a different technique. And I had no idea what liquid was. I had to research about it, do a deep dives, watch countless tutorials, use it myself, figure it out. And now it's like, I wouldn't even touch a painting. No, I've done some stuff recently. It's not 100%. But if I'm going to do something like this, where I'm really setting out for something that I'm really going to be excited about and stand behind, there's going to be liquid involved. And not just for like a number of series of glazing. Because I don't actually, believe it or not, I don't always paint like layers and layers and layers like that. But that would not be possible without liquid to get these glazes and glazes and glazes, especially in the time frame that yes, 3 days is a long time, but without liquid, we're talking like, oh God, it would just probably double the time. Anyways, you just learn tips from fantastic artists and you start implementing them. That's not okay, but I need to go back on it tomorrow. That's one of your best level ups, or some of your contemporaries and people you admire and other artists in general. The artist community is pretty good too. I see like online, I typically respond to like when people have like really direct comments about a process beside oil or acrylic. Even that, I typically will respond to you. But with like a little more genuine questions or more sincere, not that that's not sincere, but more like kind of like investigating questions that are about the process, for sure I'll answer, or about even like I typically, if people ask me what paints and brushes I use, I'll just send a photo, because being not in your country, I feel like it's a waste of time to. We do have Winsor Newton here, but I use a lot of paints that are based here, companies that are based here. So, I'll just take a photo and send it to you. Hopefully that'll help, of my workspace or certain products that I use regularly. Like this brush is like really cheap, but it took me a long time to find these brushes. And they just work really well. They don't last forever, but they really do what I need to do for probably like months. So it's not like they're cheap, and they last a while, and I really need them to achieve what I need. But they're just basic, I'm guessing like a synthetic pointed brush, but I have 0, 00, and 000. They come in like a set. Then I have some like kind of like more refined brush, like nicer brushes. Some of the brushes I was using earlier for like the larger ones and fatter glazes, those are like more expensive. But part of why, because these are so small and pointed, it's about the pacing that I really benefit from. And I'm used to them, to be honest. I'm used to them. I'm getting like a tree vibe or something. Let's get a little bit darkness in here. It's a little scuffed, especially my reference photo looks like scuffed, like kind of a little battered. I think we're going to put a smile on this guy. Little jokery. The hand's a little better. Not great. Not accurate, but better. Kind of in the middle of, should it be really surreal, or in the middle, or confused? I just don't know what's happening here. The hand is fine, like if I don't. The hand is fine. So I've been mixing some blue to kind of deal with the background. Forgive me, I'll just talk a little bit while I get some. Here's the liquid I keep talking about. But I keep mixing some blues all over the kind of scale, but sky blue. Too much liquid for it. We're nearing the end for tonight, but I just found an idea how to. One thing I saw too is like, see, here's like the nipples or the breasts, and then this is the crotch. The arms are being like torn this way and that way. And these are like stumps, kind of, right? You know, typical cherub painting. But anyways, I just kind of going to try something to ease my I'm just seeing if this matches it at all. How far away are we? I'm not too far. It's a little, it's very gentle, like you're easing colors in, but I just thought this would be a good solution for some of these areas. It's pretty close, and even if it's off a little bit, it still works because, again, everything's so muddy, right?